Hi, folks. Welcome to the Ivy Boys podcast presented by Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker. 314-369-9680 or RebeccaSellsDreams.com. I am your host, Chipper Lewis, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Joel Fry. Joel, how's it going, buddy?
It's going well on the surface because the Cubs are in first place, man. The Cubs went 7-2 on a most recent homestand, even though they lost last night. You felt good about every aspect of the game with the exception of Pedro Strop. So there are some things that are problematic for the Cubs, very real issues if you want to go deep into October. But overall, I mean, all you got to do is you got to win the division first, and the Cubs right now are in first place.
They are in first place. Game and a half ahead of the St. Louis Cardinals, who are making their run, which both you and I have said in the past that this was going to happen. The Cardinals have too much talent offensively to be below 500. And they are playing really, really good baseball right now. And like I said, they're a game and a half behind the Cubs. But, Joel, I don't know. I'm not too worried right now because their bullpen's a mess. They don't really have a starter outside of Jack Flaherty. And Adam Wainwright is having a small resurgence this season. But I'm not too worried about the St. Louis Cardinals.
I would agree with you, except some of the things you mentioned about the Cardinals, you can also say about the Cubs. Now, the Cubs do have some pitching depth right now in the starting rotation. It's been nice. Alec Mills is doing the best he can, and Cole Hamels is with the Iowa Cubs right now, although they're not here in Des Moines, so I can't give you a scouting report on what he looks like at the moment. But once he gets back, you have a five-man rotation that you feel really good about right now with the way Yu Darvish is pitching, which feels so good to be able to say. You got to worry about that bullpen for the Cubs. I mean, you mentioned the Cardinals bullpen is patchwork right now. Look at the Cubs. Carl Edwards just got demoted, and Pedro Strop can't miss bats right now. He doesn't miss bats with his pitches. So his sinker isn't sinking very well. He's struggling in several different aspects, velocity-wise. And you can't rely on him the way you used to be able to. Or I guess used to be able to means that it's good. You aren't relying on what you traditionally rely on him or have traditionally been able to over the last 5 years. So even with Craig Kimbrell, that shores up the end of the game, but getting to him is a little bit of a problem right now that the Cubs need to address and address quickly.
That is one problem they have to address. Absolutely. And they're probably going to do that at the trade deadline. But our first topic for today, and again, for those who aren't aware, we have finally started timing our topics so we're not rambling. Joel, I'm going to start the timer here after I ask you this question, and I want your opinion. The Cubs road worries. Are you legitimately worried about how they're playing, or do you see a light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to our record on the road?
So the Cubs seem to lose a myriad number of different ways on the road, and good teams usually have an issue or a couple issues, something that you can pinpoint and go, this is a real problem. We need to fix this, and then we can go from a good team to a very good competitive team. The Cubs on the road, they're two different teams right now because the road team, the home Chicago Cubs can beat anybody in the major leagues right now. And I would take them, if there was a 7-game series and every game was at home, I would take the Cubs. I would bet on the line. The road team doesn't have one issue. There are several issues. The team scores fewer runs on the road. They commit more errors. There is less reliability out of the bullpen. The starting pitching doesn't do as well. I mean, Alec Mills only threw 4 1/3 innings last night.
Right.
So the strain that puts on your bullpen as you get further along, and yeah, the Cubs have another off day coming up before long, but then those off days become fewer and further between. So I don't necessarily see a light at the end of the tunnel, but that's what the trade deadline is all about, is shoring up some of those things to give you a clearer idea of the type of team you are. The Cubs are a team that is worthy of winning this division, but their road performance belies that quite a bit. And no, I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel unless a move is made on the roster.
Okay. By the way, we are experiencing small technical difficulties. We know Joel's robot voice is coming back every once in a while, but that's okay. We're gonna play around with that one for sure.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Um, here's why I'm not horribly worried about the road issue, is because I look at these 9 games, 8 now, and I think to myself, if they honestly can win 5 or 6 of those games, hopefully 6, because that theoretically could mean that they win all 3 series on the road, we're having a completely different conversation. And I know it's a tough task to ask. Say that 3 times fast. Try saying that fast by itself. Tough task to ask. That was weird. But winning 2 in San Francisco, winning 2 in Milwaukee, and winning 2 here in St. Louis, I understand how tough that is. But if you are going to be a World Series contending team, that's something you need to be able to do. Am I wrong?
You're right. You're absolutely right. The Cubs are, if you look, they're 10 games under 500 right now on the road, and they win 2 out of every 3 at home. So it makes sense of that. The road issues haven't hurt them all that much. They have, per Baseball Reference, the Cubs have an 83% chance to make the postseason, and they have an 8.8% chance to win the World Series. So giving yourself the kind of chance to make the postseason when you are this bad on the road is an achievement in and of itself. They have one of the worst road records in the National League. I think the second worst, maybe to the Marlins. In all honesty, the Marlins are like 18-30. But it shows that if the Cubs can just figure it out on the road, and I don't even know what figuring it out means. I mean, not blowing late leads, not having your bats leave you. I mean, does it feel like when the Cubs get down on the road, say if they get down 2-1, does the game feel over to you? Because it feels over to me if the Cubs get down 2-1 on the road.
On the road, absolutely.
Yeah. At home, I don't feel like that at all.
No.
I feel like the Cubs can absolutely come back and win. And I did a little playing around with some Matthew Trueblood numbers a few weeks ago about how the Cubs at one point were like 5-26 when they trailed after 4 innings, which means they win 78% of the time if they are even or ahead after 4 innings, which is just remarkable. It's consistent with what they've done over the past few years. So what that tells me is if the Cubs can get out of the first couple of innings with a lead on the road, more often than not, they're going to win the game. Right. Last night notwithstanding. So it's a huge challenge for the Cubs to get over that hump, get over that road hump, because there's a very real shot that they will be the road team in a best-of-5 series in the first round of the playoffs, if indeed they do make the postseason.
It's not just that, but September. I mean, they have 15 away games in September alone. 15. They have to figure it out.
But they're against divisional opponents.
And that's the thing. They are, and that's why that makes it even more important. Because they have a series against Milwaukee. They have a series. The last series of the year is here in St. Louis. They have to figure this out. They have to figure out what is happening on the road. What is the difference? San Francisco is a different story. Okay, you cannot account for that ballpark because it plays like how Coors Field plays as a hitter's ballpark and makes you think that Nolan Arenado is an amazing offensive player. Oracle Park, or whatever you want to call it in San Francisco, makes you think that the San Francisco Giants pitchers are outstanding. It is a pitcher's ballpark.
It also doesn't help that you're missing Wilson Contreras right now.
Exactly.
Willie, I mean, he's hitting 286 this year. He's having an unbelievable offensive season. Martin Maldonado, by the way, he's been great behind the plate. He doesn't have a hit yet. He's 0 for 11 so far to start out his Cubs career. Yeah. So that's disappointing.
But that's not why he's here, correct?
Yep. No hits. No, it's not. But if you have an automatic out in the lineup in the National League when you already have the pitcher out there, and then who are you going to put at second base aside from
Robel?
The guy Robel Garcia? Yeah. He's been terrific, but you can't play him every single day. And
why not?
You do lose something with the glove if you have him out there instead of Addison Russell.
Oh, We'll get to Addison Russell later.
Right.
My wife
we
has,
certainly-
by the way, my wife has chimed in on this comment, on this topic. I just want to point that out. She has chimed in on YouTube, which you can do. You can comment on YouTube. Questions and things like that will answer it. She says the Cubs need to have a talk with the St. Louis Blues about winning on the road. For those who don't know, of course, the St. Louis Blues won the Stanley Cup, and they were amazing on the road. So
There you go. Our first topic. So we've been doing this for 3 years. That is the first time we've ever ended a segment talking about hockey.
Which is strange because I guess it's not that strange, but we do talk about other sports on this podcast. But yeah, we've never tackled hockey, I guess.
Yeah, good job. Thanks, Christy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Christy. But anyways, yeah. So you are worried, but do you think they can turn it around with moves at the deadline? Correct.
I truly believe the Cubs can turn it around, but you have too many automatic outs in the lineup right now. I mean, Albert Almora has given you nothing. He has an OPS plus of 68, and again, average major leaguer is 100. He's a no-win player, and he should be like a -1 or -2 guy based on his offensive performance, but his defense is so good that he makes himself basically a net zero. And having him in the lineup, whoever you put out there at second base who's not Robel Garcia is hurting you. Maldonado hasn't gotten a hit yet since Contreras was down. So it's troubling to say the least. But at the same time, you're in first place, so it's so hard to weigh those two things. How bothered I am by this team and also how encouraged I am that they're likely at this point in the season to get into the postseason.
Correct. Okay, so yes. I agree with you, and I agree with you that is where I'm worried also about. They need to address this at the deadline, which brings us to our next topic. This is the Ivy Boys podcast presented by Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker, 314-369-9680. That brings us to our next topic. July 31st is coming, the trade deadline. Now, hang on, this is a question before the timer starts. Are you surprised the Cubs haven't made a move yet? Knowing that they like making moves before the deadline.
Not terribly surprised because I think there's a dilemma with who you give up and because whoever you're giving up is going to be off the Major League roster, I think, at this point. And if you give someone up, that means you're giving up on them. Right. Because so many of these guys were supposed to be part of the core all through 2021. So you're cutting bait 2 seasons before their deals are up or their team control is up. And I think that's something that's got to be taken into consideration when you look at this ball team.
Okay. All right. I am a little surprised because knowing how Theo and Jed worked, how they like getting ahead of the market before the deadline. So I am surprised on that. Okay. So trade deadline coming up. Who is the one player that you want to see on the Cubs come August 31st?
That guy is no longer available probably because of the team's recent success, but Will Smith was my guy.
Okay.
I wanted him on this team, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen because the Giants, wouldn't you know it, have won 16 of 19 games and are now firmly in the wild card hunt. So, and with the consideration that Bruce Bochy is in his last season as manager of anyone ever, I think they're going to want to make a run for him. And the Giants, give them a lot of credit, man. They've put themselves right in position to compete for that second wild card slot. And if they continue being this hot, which I don't think is possible, you're not going 16 of 19 again. You're not the 2016 Cubs to start the season, for crying out loud. You're looking at a second wild card spot, and I think they're going to hold on to all their pieces, stand pat, and go for it. Are they buyers? No, but I don't think they're sellers either. I think they look at this team and go, all right, we can get to 85 wins, and that'll get us into the wild card.
So
that was my guy.
Will that get the Giants into the wild card, though?
85
you think
wins?
85 wins does it? Okay. All right. I mean, we'll see, right? I mean,
so I mean, I would say maybe a Giants Nationals wild card if they would get the second wild card there, because the Cardinals and Brewers might win 82, 83 games. They might be on the outside looking in from there, and that'd be fine with me, by the way.
Yes, I'd be okay with that.
So it just depends, man. It really does. But I think that 85 wins gets you into the wild card this year.
Okay. All right, hey, that would be good because, like you said, that would mean the Cardinals and the Brewers probably don't make the playoffs. I'm good with that. I'm perfectly, and that also means that the Giants or whoever wins the wild card game is not facing the Cubs in the first round either.
Yep.
Which I'm okay with.
You know, the
also.
Cubs are on pace for 87.5 wins this year, so 87 or 88 victories so far. If you go on my Twitter, by the way, you will see that I have posted like the Cubs season in 20 game increments, and it's a bunch of 10-10, 9-11, and 11-9, and then one 15-5 stretches, which is the only reason they're in first place right now. This team has played like a 500 team with the exception of one stretch.
Correct.
And if you look at 20 game increments, it trues it out. Yep.
Correct. But let's get back to the trade deadline. Your guy was
sorry.
Will Smith. No, that's fine. This is why we have the timer. Your guy was Will Smith. My guy is still Ken Giles.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. We talk about wanting a lefty, a guy who can come in and face left-handed hitters. Correct? That's what we want. A guy who can face Yelich in an important series or something like that. We want that.
And Bellinger.
I'll tell you why I want Ken Giles. You ready to hear his numbers against left-handed batters this year?
I know we went over his overall numbers a few weeks ago and our jaws dropped. I can only imagine his lefty numbers are even better than that. So lay 'em on me, bud.
His numbers against left-handed batters are better than his numbers against righties. And it's not even close. Against left-handed batters, they have a batting average of 153. Against righties, they're hitting 254 against him.
Wow.
On base percentage of 319 against righties, 206 against lefties. And the numbers, I mean,
that's their on base. That's the on base of lefties is 206.
Yes, against a right-handed pitcher.
Wow.
Which I mean, he has the reverse splits. BA BIP. You ready for this one? Or as I call it,
BABIP.
Batting average with balls in play. Right-handed batters, 533. Left-handed batters, 212. 212.
Did you just say the right-handed batters are batting 533? They have a 533 BABIP against him?
Yep.
Okay, for folks who don't know, BABIP, take away the home runs. Again, it's exactly what it says. Batting average on balls in play. You hit it in the field of play. How likely are you to get a hit? Major League average is about 300. And 206 is preposterous. Oh, my goodness.
212.
That's
212,
amazing to hear.
212 against lefties.
212.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Still
would
great.
you not want Ken Giles as your eighth inning guy?
I think he'd be great as the eighth inning guy.
Giles to Kimbrel? Kinsler, Giles, and Kimbrel?
I like Kinsler.
I love Kinsler. He's become my new favorite player right now.
What does it take to get Ken Giles?
Ian Happ.
Okay. Anything else, or is that it? Ian Happ.
Well, I mean, obviously, Ian Happ. I don't know. Dwayne Underwood Jr.
Okay. Now, Happ really good in July, so it may very well be a trade up. I'm looking up Ken Giles' contract situation right now. His age will have something to do with it. Is also, I mean, Giles is only 28, or he's in his age 28 season. So from that standpoint, I mean, you're wondering what you get up for a guy who might just be a flash in the pan because he's had an ERA over 4. 2 of the last 3 seasons. He's very inconsistent year to year, but when he has it figured out, he's potent, and he is extremely potent this year. 15.5 strikeouts per 9 innings, a 5.7 strikeout to walk ratio, something you don't have in the bullpen right now. Even Craig Kimbrel has been walking a lot of guys so far as a member of the Cubs, which was what he did with the Red Sox too, so as part of his MO. But you don't have a lot of guys whose strikeout to walk ratio are dramatic in the Cubs bullpen, and Giles would be better than any of them, which makes me wonder again how much they'd be willing to give up to get him, because he's been good in the past. He hasn't been necessarily this good.
I understand that. I still think it takes Ian Happ, and I'm okay if it takes Ian Happ and a low-level prospect to get Ken Giles, knowing that hasn't been this good in in a few years or ever.
True.
I'm still okay with it, knowing that having a bullpen, and it all depends if Kinsler can still pitch like he can. By the way, the timer's going off right now. But we'll continue for a second.
Giles, by the way, yep, Giles is arbitration eligible in 2020. His earliest free agency period is 2021. So he would line up nicely with the rest of the Cubs core that you have set up.
Exactly. Then you give you sign Kinsler after this year. By the way, he's earned it. And you say goodbye to Strop. I hate saying it. I absolutely hate saying it, but it's true. You say goodbye to Strop. You re-sign Kinsler, and now you have Kinsler, Giles, and Kimbrel 7, 8, 9 for the rest of this year and into the future, the next 2 years. I don't understand what's wrong with that. Like, I don't know what would be wrong with that situation. Do you?
No, I don't. And for the record, Strop now, in his Cubs career in 7 seasons, he has a career 2.84 ERA. He has never had an ERA above 3 as a member of the Cubs, and in this season he's 5.47. So there is no conceivable way. If he threw 20 more innings, he would still have an ERA over 3. So
Right.
he's not gonna achieve that again as a member of the Cubs. So I'm with you. I would hate to see Strop go, but you got to do what's best for your team at some point. And no, it's just tough.
Oh, no, it's horrible because he is such a likable player. He really is. And but you have,
Yeah,
like
if
you
he
said,
threw
you have to do what's best for the ball club. And that's
If
good.
he threw 20 scoreless innings, he would be at 3.12 ERA this year.
Yeah. You can't have that from your 8th inning guy. You can't.
No. Nope.
And it's a shame. It really, truly is. So, you know what's funny? Neither of us said a hitter. You said Will Smith. I said Ken Giles. And neither of us still said a hitter. Would you be okay with Nick Castellanos?
I would. You're weakening your outfield a bit, and Castellanos is going to be a guy who you play for 6, maybe 7 innings, and then move Hayward over to right and Castellanos to the bench and
Right.
put Almora out in center. Almora then is definitely a defensive replacement. And in all honesty, I mean, if you were going to pick 9 guys to play every single day, and Almora was one of them, he would probably be the worst offensive player on the team right now, outside of Daniel Descalso, but he's not a full-time player. So among guys, I mean,
Is Descalso
Almora
even a
has
part-time player?
Okay. Descalso is taking up a roster spot for reasons that are all completely financial. It is 100% financial reasons why.
Yeah.
But Almora this year, 300 plate appearances. He has a 657 OPS. 657. He gets his on base is a career worst. His slugging is about the same as last year. Even with his home runs, he's doing nothing else aside from hitting homers. So the guy isn't contributing there. You should relegate him to a backup center fielder. However, I think I'd rather see you do that because you bring up Ian Happ rather than getting Nick Castellanos.
Yeah. I'm with you. I wouldn't hate Nick Castellanos. I hope we don't give up too much for a rental. I'm trying to think who else would be out there, outfield wise, that they could go out and get. The Mets are open for business, from my understanding. So there's guys like Michael Conforto. I think if he had a change of scenery, maybe he would be pretty good. Who else? Who else am I thinking? I mean, if the Giants, for whatever reason, start faltering now and go down the drain and decide to sell Kevin Pillar, right? I mean, you got speed, you got center field. I mean, why not Kevin Pillar if the Giants are going to sell?
I think that's fair. And again, that's if the Giants are going to sell, which I can't promise they will. By the way, Michael Conforto, good season so far this year. Batting 250, 828 OPS. OPS plus of 121, basically the same player he was last year, just a few fewer home runs, but still he has 18 so far this year. You get him, you're getting a pretty solid above average major league player. I would feel bad because, by the way, Conforto, 26 years old, so you get him for a little bit too. I'd feel bad that he left the Mets because I always felt that Mike Piazza had the best Mets name, like the most New York Mets name I could think of. Mike Piazza. Michael Conforto, also excellent Mets name.
Yes.
When I think, what jersey does Michael Conforto wear? I think Mets.
Yeah, it's definitely the Mets. Like, he would have the New York accent, how you doing? Give me a slice of pie. That kind of guy.
Hey, Conforto.
Hey, Conforto. Hey, Conforto. Why is your team horrible?
That's why I thought that Piazza had the best Mets name of all time. It was never a great Dodgers name, but a Mets name, Mike Piazza. That's a guy right there, man.
Side story: did you know how close the Cubs came to get trading for Mike Piazza?
I had no clue.
Yes. Okay. So Piazza got traded from the Dodgers to the Marlins. Remember, he was with the Marlins for like a week. Literally, it was a week.
Yes, I remember that. I recall seeing him in uniform.
The Cubs and the Marlins had a deal in place that would have sent 3 prospects to the Florida Marlins for Mike Piazza. It was done.
Wow.
It was done. The last second, the Cubs pulled the trigger. Did not pull the trigger. They pulled the prospects back, and they decided they wanted to keep them. Do you know who those prospects were?
Who were the prospects?
Nobody knows because I don't even know. I don't even know their names. They were nobodies. They didn't pan out.
And yet, Cubs could have had Mike Piazza.
Cubs could have had Mike Piazza. Mike Piazza could have been on the Cubs in 2003.
And that's not, well, he could have, it was before then. Oh, in 2003, because of the, yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah, you think?
However, so here's the thing. So Mike Piazza would have been on the Cubs in 2001 and 2002 as well, because that trade happened in 1998.
Correct.
Or would have happened.
He would have been on the Cubs in 98.
Yeah, he was no kidding. Wouldn't that have been nice?
They would have won the division.
Then. So 2001 for the Mets, Piazza hit 336 home runs, 94 RBIs. Do you know who the Cubs had as their catcher that year?
In 2001?
Yes.
Damian Miller.
Todd Hundley hit 187 with 12 home runs. You could have had 2 years of Piazza in 01 and 02, based on what you're saying, where he averaged 34 home runs and a batting average of 291 and OPS of 930. He would have been, without question, the best hitting catcher for the Cubs since Gabby Hartnett. Meanwhile, you get Todd Hundley. Todd Hundley, during that same time, struggled to hit 200 over the entirety of those 2 seasons. The man batted 187 in 2001, 211 in 2002, hit 28 total home runs. So his entire home run total over those 2 seasons was 6 less than what Piazza averaged in a single year. So, yeah, man, that would have been nice. Would have been nice to have.
Ed Lynch.
Trading a 291 hitter for a 199.
Ed Lynch was the general manager of the Cubs in 1998 when he pulled back the prospects that nobody knows, nobody's ever heard of, to get and not trade for Mike Piazza. Ed Lynch.
Well, what might have been.
What might have been.
Boy, there are so many things that 2016 World Series makes easier to swallow. Not the least of which, by the way, is this recent run of bad. And I say bad, that's not really even fair because the Cubs just haven't won a World Series in the last couple of years. They made the playoffs every season. They'll probably make them this year. And it's just, you can look back at stuff like this and laugh now because that monkey is off your back. But that's rough, man. Having Mike Piazza in a Cubs uniform would have looked pretty sweet.
In 98, 2001, and 2003, it would have been nice.
Yeah.
Hitting right after Sosa.
Oof.
Or in 2003, you had Sosa, Alou, and Piazza.
Aramis Ramirez. And Aramis Ramirez.
And Aramis were, oh my God. thinking?
Oh well, now, hey man,
Hey,
think,
that's a trade that didn't happen at the deadline.
yeah, and you know what? Now you've got Wilson Contreras. Feel good about him.
Love it.
Yep, at second base, Robel Garcia. So, okay,
Love it.
just I'll take a few seconds here and
That's
ask
fine.
you, what do you think Robel Garcia's ceiling is?
Ceiling as a
Yeah,
player, like player comparison.
yep.
Ooh. You know what name popped in my mind? And I
Is
don't
it
know.
Dan Ugla?
No. And I don't know if he could get here because he won an MVP. I'm not saying Robel Garcia is going to win an MVP. Chase Utley.
Ooh, interesting. I thought you were going to go Jeff Kent, but I think that honestly, Garcia. I mean, a switch hitting Dan Ugla is fine by me if that's his ceiling. Probably a little bit better batting average than Ugla had. Ugla was a 241 career hitter, but I mean he did hit 30 home runs, 5 straight seasons. So I would take that from a second baseman, honestly, with a little bit better defense. Even though Robel has a reputation of not being great at defense, he hasn't made any huge mistakes where I
I'm
go,
not saying it.
"Whoa, send that guy back down."
Right. It's not like he didn't call off the outfielder or he called off the outfielder and then dropped it or fell backwards or something like that.
Yeah, how much time do we have left in this segment? Do we want to do this now?
Actually, this is the new segment, but let's do an ad really quick. The ad is for the Ivy Boys. We are looking for sponsors. We love doing this. This is not our full-time job, though. Everybody knows that. We've talked about it before. But we love doing this, and we need sponsors. We need sponsors. Well, you hear when I read my mom's sponsor, and stuff like that, how great that goes. And we're going to do that. We would plug you in everything we do on here on the podcast, on the YouTube page. We'll plug you on any of the blogs we write, stuff like that. We're looking for something. So if you love this show and you have a business and you want to be plugged by us, you can contact me at chipperstrike3, just like my Twitter handle, at gmail.com for sponsorship. Because we're looking for it. We have things we want to do that will improve this podcast so much better. But we need revenue for that. We need money to make that happen, and that's where sponsorship comes in. We want to launch the merch store, but we need money to actually make the merch to sell. We need to improve a couple things with our sound stuff, our soundboards, and stuff like that. Money. Everything costs money. We all know that. But so we are looking for sponsors. We are there. So if you are interested, please contact me again at chipperstrike3, just the number 3 at gmail.com. Okay, so next topic. And my wife does not really want us to spend time on this, but that's not her show to decide. I'm sorry, sweetie. Because he is whatever. There's two things that have happened in the last 2 days that kind of like surprised us as Cub fans. The first is Carl Edwards Jr. all of a sudden being sent down, option to Iowa, after his one appearance coming off of the IL. And the other is Addison Russell proving more and more to us that he is not a Major League Baseball player, that he's not a caliber type player. So let's start with Edwards Jr. Joel, what is your thoughts on Edwards Jr. getting optioned after 1 day off the IL?
They didn't just see something they didn't like. They saw something they hated that could not be sustainable at the major league level. Think about the number of guys who haven't come through on consistent bases that the Cubs have not optioned. Guys with options potentially even, who they haven't moved. Maybe it's because of positional depth needs or whatever. But with Edwards, that was quick hook, man. He comes in one dirty inning, is asked to get one out, does not perform, and gets sent down quickly. So that doesn't just tell me that's a results-based thing. That is a mechanics or mental confidence issue. There's something that they're seeing that we're not, that they know that we don't, that they've had in conversations with him that we aren't privy to. That isn't just the hit a guy with the bases loaded and go from there. Because I think even given this time of year, I think you give him one more shot at that point since he's coming off
Right.
of, a rehab starts and everything. But no, they went right after it. They knifed him quickly and sent him back down to Iowa, where nobody wants to be. Take it from this guy. And he is going to have to work on some stuff. I don't know if he's going to be back in September. That's going to depend on Edwards. And Joe didn't necessarily stick up for him when they were talking about things that Carl needs to work on or why he got sent down. Joe said, this is not a time to be touchy-feely or overly positive if you don't need to be. The Cubs are trying to win a division. Cubs are trying to justify all the money on this payroll and win a World Series. And if Edwards is hurting them and keeping them from being able to distance themselves from the Cardinals and the Brewers, then he can't be here. The Cubs made that very clear. Very clear.
I understand Joe Madden saying that about Carl Edwards Jr., but isn't he kind of like contradicting himself with the way he treats Strop?
Yes, I wonder if it's because of Strope's track record consistently. Edwards has his own track record, and maybe they're seeing things that they identified as not fixable, and maybe they think that Strope stuff is fixable. I don't know. I think Strope has earned something with this team. We talked about, I mentioned earlier, the previous 6 years before this year as a member of the Cubs, 2014 through 2018 or 2013 through 2018. He's done so much for this team and been so reliable in the 7th inning or 8th inning or wherever you put him that you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt and maybe trust the back of the baseball card a little bit, even if the peripherals potentially aren't there. I just think that there's slightly different case studies between those two.
Okay, so aren't they contradicting themselves with Addison Russell then?
Yes.
I know that's where you thought I was going to go. I knew that's where you thought I was going to go with originally before I said Pedro Strop. You thought I was going to say Addison Russell. So they are contradicting themselves with Addison Russell because he's not playing good baseball.
He's okay. The game on Saturday, you're going to make me cape for him. All right, here we go. The game on Saturday was an anomaly, okay? People have bad games. Out in the field, defensively, you can play poorly for a day. Over 54 games this season, Addison Russell has not just been a plus defensive second baseman. He has been one of the best second baseman over replacement defensive player in the National League. His UZR 150, which means basically the zone, like your range, your zone range over 150 games, how many balls you get to that a regular player wouldn't get to. He's 4th in the National League, and he's played in half the games that some of those other guys have. So that's not the problem.
It's everything else.
Everything else is a problem. The awareness is an issue. He's not driving in runs when given the opportunity. His batting average is about where you'd expect it to be. His OPS plus is about where you'd expect it to be. However, we've gotten enough of a sample size from Russell to know that he's not going to improve. That's who he is offensively, and it's not good enough at this level to be an everyday second baseman. The Cubs can find someone else to give them so much offense that it makes up for the difference in defense, and they may have found it in Robel Garcia.
Yeah.
I need to see more than just 12 to 15 games. Even if those 12 to 15 games, he's slugging 800 and batting 286. You got to see more out of him. But with Russell, I mean, the reason he's still on the roster, I firmly believe, is because they have not found a trade partner. And it's Russell's fault that they haven't, but it's the Cubs' fault for putting him out there and expecting him to perform well enough for them to find him tradable. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, everybody's at fault is what you're saying.
Yeah, the Cubs trusted that he would play well enough that they could trade him. I firmly believe that. And Russell is playing like he normally does, which just isn't a good player. He's 25, 26 now, hitting the same as he was when he was 21, 22 with a little bit less power. Not acceptable.
No, not acceptable. Because we're not looking for improvement here. We're looking for you to actually finally break through. We're done with the growth. You need to be an established Major League Baseball player right now. That's what Theo basically said at the beginning of the year. Am I wrong?
That's absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. Look at his 2015 and his 2016, you thought, okay, you can project this out to where he's hitting 30 home runs at shortstop by 2019.
What, 2016? He had like 90 something RBIs.
Right, but that's a product of opportunity.
I
mean, that's
understand
like
that.
saying
I understand that, but still, that means he's still driving them in.
he is, but that's kind of like saying Anderson Varejao is a great player because LeBron James gave him so many dunk opportunities. I mean, it took somebody else to feed him those. Now, Russell, just by playing, he hit 238, but he had so many at bats with guys on base in front of him that he did drive in those runs. I'm going to look up his numbers that year real quick.
I just want to know his batting average with runners in scoring position in 2016.
I'm going to find it.
Here's the thing. His base running he's just having massive blunders base running. And that all starts with the fact that he has come out and literally told Jesse Rogers of ESPN Chicago that he doesn't know the signs. He doesn't know the signs. And if you follow our YouTube page, you will see timers going off, and I don't care. I'm going on a rant. If you see the YouTube page and follow it, you will see my video from a couple hours ago. You are an established Major League Baseball player. You play Major League Baseball professionally. I still remember my signs from high school baseball in 2001, 2002, and 2003. And you're going to sit here and tell me that you don't know the signs, or you still get confused by the signs from a manager that the only manager you have ever played for in the major leagues. That's a problem. That is a massive problem. And the fact that it is coming out now after the way he's played, especially Saturday, but lately on the base paths and offensively, that is a massive problem that Theo and Jed have on their hands.
It absolutely is. Okay, so Addison Russell in 2016 with runners in scoring position. He was a 251 hitter, so he was better than normal. Right. 251 with a 325 on base, a 461 slugging. So he was better with runners in scoring position. In 194 at-bats, he had 74 RBIs.
He just put the ball in play with runners in scoring position. That's basically what it came into.
Yep, and here's the thing. I looked at... So when you think of the Cubs in 2019, if I said to you, this guy struggles with runners in scoring position, who would you say?
In 2019?
This year. Who's the guy who gets the worst... who gets the most crap for not producing with runners in scoring position?
Oh, it's Chris Bryant gets the most crap.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to say this again. Addison Russell, 251, 325, 461. 251 hitter. Chris Bryant this year, a 224 hitter with runners in scoring position. He has a 784 OPS, so his OPS is the same as Addison Russell's. He has 23 RBIs in 73 plate appearances. So Russell was more effective with runners in scoring position on the whole than Chris Bryant was. Chris Bryant has been this year. So he was good that year. He was clutch. He was fine. But again, I think a lot of it is the product of your opportunities.
Yeah, the opportunities. Giving the opportunities. Batting ninth in the lineup for most of the year.
Yep. And he moved. I mean, he earned it. By the way, Chris Bryant hit better with runners in scoring position that year than Addison Russell did, but he hit second in the lineup, so the RBIs weren't there.
Correct.
I mean, Bryant that year hit 263 with an 840 OPS and with runners in scoring position. Pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, you hear 263 and that's batting average, of course. You hear that and you're thinking, oh, that's all right. But no, that's good with runners in scoring position. Here's the thing. Here's why I'm not too worried about Chris Bryant or Anthony Rizzo to begin with.
Well, there's no reason to be worried about them, but continue.
Because their on-base percentage is 400. Mm-hmm. 400. They get on base. Bryant's getting on base. Look at last night's game in the 8th inning. Just look at that alone. Chris Bryant got on base. Base hit. Stole second. How awesome was that, by the way? He stole second, and then Rizzo drove him in. That's amazing. That was awesome. It was awesome. And then now imagine Wilson Contreras, and then Jason Hayward batting after that. And then throw in Robo Gusty or wherever you want. I'm okay with that right now. Do the Cubs need to go get a bat at the deadline? It wouldn't hurt. But I don't think they have to.
No. I don't think so either. By the way, just real quick before we get to our final thoughts and also me chugging a delicious beer here. So Anthony Rizzo, runners in scoring position for his career. For his career, Anthony Rizzo is a 279 hitter with runners in scoring position with an 880 OPS. So Russell, during his 2016 season when he was vaunted for the RBI is everything, he drove in a run in 38% of his plate appearances with runners in scoring position. Rizzo, for his career, has done it in 45% of his plate appearances with runners in scoring position. He will drive a guy in almost half the time
That's awesome.
if you put a runner on in scoring position with him up.
That's awesome. That's amazing. And that's what you want from your captain.
I hope he doesn't end his career underappreciated as a Cub. He's an all-time great Cub.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
His
he's
number
the
should
captain.
be retired.
Wow. That's a hot take. That's a hot take right now.
It doesn't seem hot at all.
That's a hot.
Anthony
okay,
Rizzo's
it's a lukewarm take. It's a warm
44
take.
should be retired when Rizzo retires from the Cubs.
It's a warm take, only because of how young he still is.
I'm putting it on Twitter too. I'm going to put a Twitter poll up here.
Okay. All right. I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
And as soon as I get this poll done, I'm going to drink my beer.
This is the Ivy Boys podcast, Perfect Timing, presented by Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker. If you don't want to strike out, contact the MVP realtor of the St. Louis area. Rebecca Lewis with Coldwell Banker Gundecker can answer all your questions related to selling your home fast. Her testimony from her clients says it all. We love Rebecca. Rebecca did everything that needed to be done for us to get our top dollar for our house. She did everything that needed to be done for us to get us our dream house. Rebecca is amazing when it comes to selling and buying houses. So Rebecca Lewis with Coldwell Banker Gundecker will give you a detailed marketing plan and outline her impressive online presence, a recommend professionals list that includes contractors, painters, home cleaning, and a home staging service that will keep your home at the top of any buyer's must-have list. She knows the St. Louis area, and she can expertly consult you on the area's proper values, information about housing trends, and how Coldwell Banker Gundecker gets your home sold fast. Call Rebecca Lewis at 314-369-9680 or RebeccaSellsDreams.com to get your home on the market now. All right. It's time for the beer chug. You know, I do actually have a beer. It's what I drink on a normal occasion. It is Miller Lite. It's my beer.
I'm shocked.
It's my beer. So I do have that, and for whatever reason, it's foaming. So I'm going to pour my beer now. Joel, everybody knows about my beer. Joel, tell us a little bit about yours, please. Bud Light Lemon Tea. Again, Bud Light, though.
So you've given me a hard time the last 2 times I've had Bud Light on this show, and I saw a commercial, I think it might have been during a Cubs game, for Bud Light Lemon Tea. I'm a guy who loves him and Arnold Palmer, and so it sounded, lemon tea, kind of like an Arnold Palmer, half tea, half lemonade. I thought I'd give it a try. So that's what I've got here. My wife went out and bought me a 6-pack. I had one. I enjoyed it, but I did not chug it. I nursed it during a ball game. So let's see how this goes as I have it rocketing down my gullet.
Okay, hang on. My beer, for whatever reason, is foaming. That means it's good. I got to set up the music. You got to get the atmosphere. A lot of crackling before the music comes on. Give it a second.
Was tut man denn nicht für den Fremdenverkehr?
This has become my new favorite song. I've decided this. It's an LP. It's literally I searched German drinking music, and it's a 19-minute LP. and I'm very excited
I'm in-
about this. It's good.
I'm in no way surprised this is your favorite song.
It's awesome. How can you not like this? It's so catchy.
Fair.
Anyways, here's to the Cubs. Go Cubs, go. Here's to hoping that, they don't disappoint us at the deadline and that Addison Russell goes away come August 1st.
We will see.
Yes, we will see. So cheers to that. Ready?
Cheers.
1, 2, 3.
Alle Fremden bleiben ganz verwundert stehen, weil sie sowas noch nirgends gesehen.
Oh. So, how was it?
Burns. So much lemon. Oh, does that burn? I knew it burned halfway through, and I was like, nope, I'm not wussing out on this.
Ooh.
I'm not doing it. I'm not going to be that guy. Oh, I wish I'd been that guy.
That's awesome.
It's really tasty. Oh, wow, that burns. Okay.
Oh,
Ooh,
that makes
boy,
me happy. Finally, you had one that burned. That's all I gotta say. Finally, you had one that burned because I've had several. That Hefeweizen to begin with, that was horrible.
Yeah, man.
That was horrible. So.
Wow. Okay, that's fine. That's totally okay that happened in my mouth. Wow.
That's what she said.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. In my experience, no, she did not. Hi, Christy.
All right. Anyways,
we have a show to finish.
we have the show to finish. Onward to the final thoughts. Joel, give me it.
7-2 hasn't felt that hollow in a long time for the Cubs. I was looking over the schedule. They are 18-28, of course, on the road. 18 of their next 24 games are on the road. And regardless of the opponent, this is going to be the stretch that tells you if the Cubs are truly serious. Not just those 18 of 24, but whatever they do over the next 4 games to really prove to Theo that it's worth giving up somebody off of this major league roster. I'm done thinking they're going to get rid of prospects. The only one they're going to get rid of is Ian Happ, maybe, and he isn't a prospect in my mind. He is a bona fide guy who has been demoted. So you're not giving up prospects for somebody, and if the Cubs continue to fight through this, I think maybe the brain trust goes, all right, let's get to the playoffs and go from there, fire Joe Madden in the offseason, and then maybe retool a little bit without totally tanking in 2020 and come back stronger than ever. But this absolutely is an imperative stretch to see if the Cubs are going to be real pennant contenders in 2019.
Okay. By the way, it still burns, doesn't it?
Oh, is that apparent in my voice
Yes.
and my discomfort
Yes,
in using my throat?
extremely.
Yeah. Yep, it is all there, Buckaroo. Thanks.
That's how I
Thanks
felt
for
when
the
I drank
support.
that Hefeweizen, by the way.
Sure.
Just wasn't, oh no, this was not good.
Yep.
All
Yeah,
right.
and you know it halfway through too, because you're swallowing, and your throat tells you after about 3 ounces, "Hey, this is a huge mistake," but your brain goes, "Shut up, throat! I'm gonna do what I want." And so, I did it.
Yes.
I did it.
Yes,
I'm gonna find
that's
a
exactly-
smoother beer
Ooh.
next time.
Yes.
And again, I want to say, tastes. So my tongue right here tastes great. It's a satisfying, nice taste, very summery. If you want a summer beer to just sip on while you're on a pit or something, go with the Bud Light lemon tea. However, if you chug it, you're an idiot because your throat will be furious because there's a lot of acid in that drink, a lot, and it hits you fast. So don't be a dope. Drink it slow. Chipper, what's your final thought?
I like that, by the way. Don't be a dope. Drink it slow. My final thought is it's kind of reminiscent of yours. 7-2 since the All-Star break. They've won every series since then. I don't see why they can't win the next 2 in San Francisco. Milwaukee and St. Louis after that. these are big. This is a big week in baseball for the Cubs, because we're gonna decide who they are. You know, and what move are they going to make to improve themselves? Are they going to go get Ken Giles? Are they going to go get a bat in Nick Castellanos or somebody like that? This is the week that's going to decide that. And like I said in the beginning, if the Cubs can win at least 5, hopefully 6 games on this road trip, I'm not worried. They are the better team in the NL Central. Brewers are faltering. They're having a down year, which you expected because you had careers from people like Orlando Arcia. Brandon Woodruff, their best starter, went down. 6 weeks is what they're saying. So are they going to be in the market for their starter? Cubs are better than the Brewers. Cubs are better than the Cardinals. I do believe that. Cardinals have a way of voodoo magic stuff happening. We said they were going to go on the run. They did. The Cubs are the best team in the National League Central. Are they going to win the Central? I do believe that. Are they going to make a move before July 31st? Of course they are. How big of a move? I don't know. And I agree with you, Joel. I think it definitely is going to be somebody off the Major League roster because you really don't have those high-end prospects outside of Nico and maybe Miguel Amaya that could move for somebody. It's going to be somebody off this roster. It is. And you just got to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared for the Almora possibly being gone, Schwarber possibly being gone, Ian Happ, somebody like that, somebody that you have grown attached to very well could not be on this team come August 1st. So that's where we're at. That's my final thought. I'm not worried. I'm excited to see what the Cubs do at the deadline. This is a big week for Cubs baseball. That's all.
Wait, props to the starting 5 so far this season. I mean, your worst starting pitcher this year has been Yu Darvish, and he is a league so far, and we haven't seen that the last night. I am thrilled to watch Yu Darvish pitch tonight, man.
Yes,
thrilled.
I am too. I'm very excited about that because he's pitched amazing. I'm totally glad I'm going to lose that over under. By the way, very glad.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited too. Since we didn't bet anything.
Anyways, folks, that is it for us. Follow us on Twitter at the Ivy Boys. Follow me on Twitter at ChipperStrike3, just the number 3. Follow Joel on Twitter at Fry Sports Radio. Like us on Facebook.
And take the poll.
Oh, and take the poll on Joel's Twitter page right now. That'd be awesome. Do that. That'd be great. That's Fry Sports Radio at Fry Sports Radio. Like us on Facebook, the Ivy Boys. Subscribe and like to this YouTube page, please. That would be amazing. This is where a lot of our content is right now, is on this YouTube page. You all know this. Joel has his blogs on the website, but my main stuff is going to be on YouTube. Joel's fried foods. I can't talk right now. Fried foods.
So I recorded it. It is recorded. It's in several parts. I just got to edit it down and put it on the YouTube page. It is recorded. I was shocked by the results. I will tell you that much.
I'm excited for that one. Joel's going to Giordano's in West Des Moines tonight. That should be fun. Correct? Mm-hmm. They just opened up first night, so Joel's very excited about that. I wish we had good pizza down here in St. Louis, but unfortunately we do not. Anyways, YouTube page is where it's at. Please like and subscribe. Turn your notifications on so when you know we can go live or any video gets uploaded, that you can watch it right away. Again, if you are interested in being a sponsor of this show, please contact me at the Gmail account at ChipperStrike3. It's not at. It's ChipperStrike3 at gmail.com. So definitely, if you're interested, please contact me there. If you like the way our website looks, you know the drill. Go down, click his name. It's Bob Rufo of BobRufo.com. BobRufo.com, BobRufo.com, BobRufo.com. If you need anything done, logo stuff, hat like what I'm wearing right now, shirts that are coming. I know Bob's had a couple of medical issues. He's good. He's good though. We're right there with you, Bob. Hope you're feeling better. But he's getting back into the swing of things. We have shirts coming for us to wear that you can also purchase on the website. But again, that's where the sponsors come in, so we can get that stuff going. But if you like the way this looks, our logo looks, it's Bob Rufo, of BobRoofer.com. Or his buddy Vince. If you like the way this YouTube page, you want something like that, Vince and Bob will hook you up for sure. They'll help you with that also. Also, check out their podcast, Beyond the Cube, the best podcast in the 815. That is Beyond the Cube. You can find it anywhere, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Store. Tune in, things like that. Beyond the Cube. Check it out. It is awesome. Anyways, by the way, Bob, Joel and I want to be guests on Beyond the Cube. We have to make this happen. Please, we want to come. So I know you're listening. I know you're the one viewer that's still watching this whole show. So please let us be guests on Beyond the Cube. Anyways, that is it for us, folks. We appreciate the support, and we will see you next episode.